If you remember back in the anime, Arnold gave Kyle a death glare the moment he knelt in front of Rishi. At the time, it seemed like jealousy, but this chapter finally reveals that it was the word goddess that bothered him the most.
まるで麗しき女神のようだ。
So we pick up from where we left off, with Arnold teasing and threatening Rishi with a kiss, and her recalling the kiss they shared in the chapel and realizing that he tends to act like a villain whenever he's trying to hide something. She tells him that he is not the type to be cruel for no reason. Arnold pulls her closer, disagreeing with her, but as she squeezes her eyes shut, waiting for him to kiss, he looks at her and lets her go. She lets out a breath, and he sighs and turns serious, insisting that she must believe him when he says he will not follow any orders from the church. He asks why the bishop was talking to her. Even though he actually warned her not to marry Arnold, she says that they came to greet her while she was reading the Psalms. That's how the conversation shifts to the Psalms themselves. Arnold asks if she can read the Crusade language, and she admits she only knows a little bit and struggles with parts of it. She points out the line she had doubts about, and he helps her, explaining that spring is actually a flower, as it is often interpreted as open, and in this context, it signifies something that opens during spring, such as a flower, making it a non-temporal noun. When she asks about other words that change meaning based on their position, they discuss a line about a girl with hair the color of flowers. She also notes that the direct translation of the phrase, "the seasons pass with the girl's guidance," seemed odd to her. So he clarifies that it actually means the seasons repeat with the girl's guidance, and it likely refers to the festival where the royal priestess performs. Impressed by his ability to read the difficult language, she gets surprised, thinking he really has no weakness. Then she wonders if the rumors about the current emperor beating a devoted believer are true, and that he had Arnold study under an expert. Maybe that's where his deep-seated hatred for the church comes from. Suddenly, as the wind blows, a thought hits her. She turns to him and tells him that she does not carry the royal priestess's bloodline. He is pretty confused, so she explains that if they read the next phrase the way he taught her, it says that the girl with the hair color of flowers is a descendant of the goddess and becomes the royal priestess, pointing out that while she has coral pink hair, it is just a blend of her parents' features and does not mean that she carries divine blood. I mean, it was a rare color and could be seen as a color of the flower, but he was still not sure what she was talking about. She'd been curious about why he proposed to her, so maybe it was because having a princess descended from the goddess of the world's largest religion would be advantageous to Galkine, as it would secure support from the church and from faithful believers worldwide. Plus, all the royal priestesses passed away, and it's possible that he thought she was the lone survivor. He stares at her in silence, and when she asks why he's looking at her like that, he sighs and reminds her that Prince Kyle once likened her to the goddess. Hearing that, she instantly thought of the death glare he gave him back then. She realizes he looked displeased because Kyle used the word goddess, which confirms that his hatred for the church runs deep. Hearing that, he straight up tells her that he has no interest in the royal priestess or the goddess, stating there is only one person in the world he would ever kneel to. Hearing that, Rishi blushes intensely and he laughs, patting her head. He said he was in a better mood now, and then returned to his duties, leaving her flustered by his teasing. Just then, a member of the church approaches her to apologize, explaining that the ceremony will be delayed because Lady Milia has confined herself to her room. Rishi learns that she is refusing to come out of her room because she dislikes her outfit, and the bishop in charge of the ceremony is struggling to persuade her. As she reaches the mansion and observes the scene from outside, she notices a child's footprints leading into the forest, but then she hears Milia shouting from inside, saying that she only wants to wear a pink dress to the festival, while her father tries to reason with her. She's glad to see them in good health, but she knows she has to step in, so she decides to leave the footprints for later and focuses on the problem at hand. From inside the room, Milia insists that her strange powers caused a carriage accident, and she fears something bad will happen again if they do not listen to her. Her father tells her not to be foolish and explains that it was merely a broken wheel. However, she refuses to listen, insisting that if they don't do as she says, something bad will happen again, and she warns everyone to get away from the door. Amid her warning, Rishi climbs up to the third-floor window and surprises her by greeting her. While she is shocked shocked by how Rishi reached the top, she smiles and whispers that it's a secret. Milia gulped, asking if she has strange powers like her, but she denies it. Then, noticing the beautiful white dress, she asks why she dislikes it so much. Milia twists her hair and says that her mother is dead, and when she was little, her mother once told her she looked pretty in a pink dress, which is why she's insisting on that color. Rishi figures that while she likely does want a pink dress, she is definitely lying about this being the only reason for her acting out. Still, she comes up with a solution and tells her that they can change the color of the dress. Her eyes sparkled, asking if they'd do magic again, though Rishi explains that they don't need magic to do it. They can use dye to color the material, and since it won't shrink when washed, they can finish the tailoring, dye it pink, and decorate it with flowers. But for this plan to work, they must finish the tailoring today, or it will not be ready in time for the festival. Milia's eyes shine with excitement, and she happily agrees to the plan. Rishi then asks her to open the door for her father and to close her eyes so she can prepare to leave. As she closes her eyes, Rishi jumps out of the third-floor window using her rope. When she tells Milia that she can open her eyes, she looks down and gets pretty much convinced that what she just witnessed was magic. Now Rishi walks into the forest surrounding the Grand Basilica. Although this time she was told it was a restricted sanctuary, she remembers that it was not restricted when she visited this place in her past life. She spots that set of child's footprints that look like they were only a few hours old. While she knows she needs to learn more about Prince Arnold and Lady Milia, she chooses to walk silently along the path because there is someone else she needs to investigate. After a while, she approaches Leo from behind a tree, surprising him and causing him to flinch. She comments that this is the second time she has surprised him just by a greeting, to which he nervously responds that she was just with the Crown Prince of Galkine. Then he mentions that the forest ahead is forbidden. She was aware of that, but she also knew that he'd been going there too. He tells her that she is mistaken, claiming that he only goes there to look for the flowers to decorate his master's room. But she points out that the zout moss on his pants only grows in dark places like the forest, meaning he has clearly been venturing deep inside rather than just collecting flowers. Startled, he worries if she intends to hand him over to the church, but she assures him she will not do that and asks him to guide her into the forbidden forest instead. He gets more shocked, asking if a crown princess of Galkine can really afford to disobey the church. To that, she calmly replies that since they are both breaking the rules, the only person who would know she was there would be he himself. He realizes she has a point, then asks if she will keep his secret if he guides her. She promises that she will keep his secret regardless, though she admits she would be happy if he chose to take her. She also adds that she needs to return before it gets too late or her soon-to-be husband will get upset. Accepting the situation, he pouts but agrees to lead the way, telling Rishi not to wander off on her own, and she happily follows him with a thank you. That's how our chapter ends. If you would, please tell me your thoughts on both Milia and Leo and what you think about Arnold hating the goddess and the priestess in the church so much. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
Sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.